Hello, everyone. I hope you're doing amazing. So my name is Shani Boudroy. I'm a Western Sidereal astrologer, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about Jupiter's transit into the sign of Taurus from May 1st, 2024 until May 14th, 2025. So this is a big one coming up. We have Jupiter entering a new sign in Sidereal, marking a new cycle of growth, a new cycle of expansion, and a new cycle of abundance in a different area of life. So we're going to be tracking that, and we're actually going to be talking about all 12 signs and how this is going to affect you personally. So I am quite excited to do that. And so please stick around if you want to know all of that information. Before I start any of this video, I want to put out a disclaimer real quick. I am a Western sidereal astrologer. I don't use the tropical algorithm. In the sidereal algorithm, your placements, specifically your rising sign, might differ from your tropical chart. So if you are watching this video, please, please, please use your rising sign with the sidereal system, not the tropical system, because if you do that, your information will not be correct, and this video will not serve you anything. So if you have a hard time finding your sidereal rising sign, please either send me a message. My contacts will be linked down below in the description box. You can find out your sidereal rising sign. If you want more information on that, please just reach out to me. I definitely want you to get the correct information from this video, so it's very important that you follow this with your sidereal rising sign. So yeah, let's get right into it. So we're going to talk about what Jupiter is specifically. Then we're going to talk about Jupiter in Taurus and how this is going to affect us briefly as a collective. And then we'll get into all rising signs and kind of get more deep into how this is going to affect you personally with the wonderful transit of Jupiter in Taurus. So what is Jupiter? First of all, Jupiter is considered one of the biggest planets in the solar system. It's actually the biggest planet that orbits the sun. And, rightfully to its name, Jupiter is the planet of expansion. It likes to grow things. It likes to really expand whatever it touches. Jupiter is also considered one of the most benevolent forces or planets or energies in the astrology, meaning that it is often linked to abundance, luck, and fortune. I often like to consider Jupiter as like this just really nice aunt that comes to the family party and just gives you 200 bucks just cuz. And so it's really just like this abundance or this ease or this wealth that can just be kind of more easily given to you through Jupiter's influence. And so, when we talk about the planet Saturn, it's really the planet of, okay, you will get that fortune, but if you work hard, if you put in the effort for a long period of time, Jupiter's kind of opposite to that. It's more so like this ease, this flow, and this wealth that we can gain in an area of life, depending on where Jupiter is transiting in relationship to our own chart. So Jupiter, expansion, abundance, luck, wealth. So wherever Jupiter travels in the sky, again, it usually makes these things bigger. It makes the themes of the sign or this house bigger. It makes them more alive. And it also makes them more optimistic, more benevolent, possibly. It makes them more abundant as well. And so wherever Jupiter is, there's like this bigger ease or flow, and it's easier for us to grow and expand a certain area of life with less restriction, with less challenges. It's kind of like our little green card to actually invest in this area of life, knowing that it is growing and it is expanding for us in this period of a year. And by the way, Jupiter does take a year to transit a constellation or a sign. And so it is a yearly transit of, again, more ease, more flow, more expansion and abundance in an area of life. So again, Jupiter will grow anything it touches and it will bring more ease and more flow. And so it's really good to know where Jupiter's traveling in your chart because it's kind of like an area of life that you can milk this energy a little bit for the next year. If Jupiter's traveling in your house of home and family, which is the fourth house, could be a great time to look into moving, great time to revamp your home, to reorganize your home, a great time to think about, possibly buying property. It's easier to maneuver the realm of home and family. It's easier to make changes. It's easier to want to grow this area. If Jupiter's transiting your 10th house of career, then it might be a good time to, put yourself out there, grow your career, grow your business. It's easier to do that. Again, there's a little bit of an easy push for things to grow in this area of life. So that's why I think personally Jupiter is one of the most important planets to actually follow and know where it is traveling in your chart. And so that's obviously what we want to do in this video. So now moving on to Jupiter's transit into Taurus, what can we expect in terms of the energy, collectively speaking, with Jupiter entering the sign of Taurus? Well, obviously, Jupiter expands and grows anything it touches. And the choice of outfit here was not random, it's very intentional. We see a lot of green, and the reason for that is Taurus is one of the earthiest of earth signs. It's a fixed earth signs that rules the five senses and everything that we can touch and feel in this material physical world. It really rules the connection to earth and to the physical world. And so with Taurus we can see themes of food, of art, music. We can see anything that's like agriculture, and also money. Money as a main resource to have access to most things in the physical world, strictly in the physical world. And so Taurus is obviously associated with money, hence the green, or fertility, or food, fertile grounds that can help us have access to more resources, especially in the physical world. So it's really our connection to the five senses. And Taurus as a sign is very fixed. It's very grounded. It's very stubborn. It really is a persistent and consistent energy. So it's very interesting to have Jupiter go into Taurus because the two are kind of opposite in nature. But with Jupiter and Taurus, we can definitely expect growth, abundance, and an ease when it comes to anything Taurus related. So, we think about food, the food industry. We think about agriculture. I'm almost feeling with, Jupiter and Taurus, a growth in terms of people growing their own food, investing into growing land or plants or trees or anything like that that expands the earth, anything that is earth related, anything that is food related. So I'm definitely expecting, or maybe possibly anticipating, a growth of people being more invested in agriculture and again growing their own food, a growth in the food industry, generally speaking, a greater appreciation for the food industry. So that is definitely something that I feel could happen with Jupiter and Taurus. Also, money related subjects, banks, anything related to finances could potentially grow and expand in new ways. We could see new energies when it comes to banking or finances that are, very expansive or very new. So that's something that could also be in the cards for the next year, or a growth of anything that is, again, like stimulates our five senses. Anything like wine. Again, I mentioned food, art, music, things that are Venusian in nature, textile, like fashion, maybe, although fashion is a little bit more Libra related. But all of that kind of comes into the focus when we talk about Taurus energy. And what's really interesting is, again, as I mentioned, Taurus is a fixed earth sign. So it is very grounded, very consistent and persistent, very fixed. And so with Jupiter coming in, it kind of like shakes up the stability in a way. And for me, when I think of Jupiter and Taurus, I actually think of a growth in stability. So we could see, growth that could allow us a deeper set of stability, a deeper set of just groundedness in an area of life, related on where this is hitting your chart. So if Taurus is, for example, in your let's say your ninth house, which is the house of belief systems and your philosophy and your religion, this can be an area of life that is usually very fixed or usually doesn't really change because it has this Taurian influence to it. But Jupiter coming in could actually expand this, which could allow you to have a new set of stability that comes into this area of life through this expansion. So it's kind of like, deeper stability through expansion. And it could be difficult in a way for some people because Taurus is so fixed. Jupiter coming in here is going to ask us to grow and change this area of life in a little bit, in some ways. But if we trust the process, again, Jupiter usually always brings some sort of gift or abundance wherever it lands. So if we allow this growth, this expansion to happen in an area of life that is usually very fixed and stable, it will lead us to even more stability and to some degree of abundance. So I would say, wherever this is hitting in your chart, in your Taurus area of life, although this may be an area of life that is usually very fixed and consistent, allow for this expansion to happen, allow for the, possible change and shifts in this area of life, knowing that it will lead to a deeper sense of stability long term in this house. So yeah, that's kind of what I had to say about Jupiter in Taurus, generally speaking. So, getting into all 12 signs now and how this will be affecting you, I will be sharing my chart in which I will be going through each rising signs and kind of laying out the general themes for your next year with Jupiter and Taurus. So, let me just go ahead and share my chart and we will get right started. So, for Aries rising, Aries rising, I hope you're doing amazing. So, Jupiter is moving in Taurus for the next year, bringing us new expansion, new growth, and a new area of life. And so, again, Jupiter is the planet of expansion, of abundance, luck, joy, faith. And so, it usually brings us some degree of ease, some degree of flow, and also opportunities to really grow and expand in new ways in a certain area of life. And so I actually have Aries rising here in my chart. And we can see Jupiter here in the sign of Taurus. Here I have the chart for May 1st. And so again, Jupiter is here in Taurus and it's going to move through the sign for the next year. So for you, obviously, we can see that Taurus lands in your second house. This means that the second house area of life is going to experience some sort of new growth, some sort of new expansion and abundance, more ease, more flow that's going to allow you more stability in this Taurus area of life. And so, what is the second house? The second house is the house of your personal resources, your finances, your material wealth, your personal values as well. It's really the house of everything that is tangible and everything that is felt with the five senses, and as well as our ability to gather our own resources. And that's why it also rules finances and money. So with Jupiter coming into the second house, this is a great news for, generally speaking, your financial world and possibly your material wealth as well. So Jupiter in the second house usually allows for expansion and growth when it comes to your income sources. Maybe this is a year where you will have a chance to expand your income sources in new ways. Maybe this is a time where you do generate a new income source that ends up being very benevolent, very, very beneficent for you. This can be a great time to make any kind of relevant purchases. So maybe if you're purchasing a car, maybe if you're purchasing some sort of a large item or something that is quite relevant, this can be a great time to do that. You may have more resources available to do that, but it's also more fruitful that you will, likely go through this big purchase with no barriers or no challenges. There might still be challenges, but it's going to be overall a more smoother process to really navigate the physical and more tangible world. So this is a great time to focus on this matter, great time to focus on just learning more about, gathering the resources that you need. Maybe this is a great time for you to learn about the financial world, to learn about how you can grow and expand this, to kind of, straighten up your financial lingo, because this could be quite positive for you as well. This can be a time where, because the second house also rules your personal values, this can be a time where you can really grow your sense of value, not only your sense of value in yourself, but really grow in terms of realizing and acknowledging what you value the most in your life. So this is really gonna expand in new ways. So maybe if you're someone who really values art, this is something that you might realize even more, and you might kind of invest even more time into your personal values, which may include, art or music. Or if you're someone that values, I don't know, let's say traveling, maybe this time where you really realize that and you have more resources or more abilities to invest in those values. So this is really a time where your sense of value can grow. You can really realize again what you prioritize, what you value, and that in exchange can also affect your personal value within yourself as well, right? So you can also grow this as well. So this is definitely a great time financially, I would say, for Aries rising. If you like, great time to learn more about finances, great time to also learn more about your skill set, because the second house is your ability to generate resources coming from your own skill set, coming from your own abilities. And so this is a great time if you have like a talent, whether that's art, whether that's writing, singing, whatever, whatever it is, really milk this ability or this talent to allow it to generate more resources for you personally. So this can be a great time to invest in that as well. So I would say for every Aries rising, definitely be on the lookout for new ways of gathering income. Great time to make a purchase. Great time to focus on your material wealth. It might grow during this year. Great time to focus on your values. What do you value and actually invest in that? And great time to focus on your ability to generate resources based on a talent, based on a skill set that you have. And you will find that if you do that, and whenever you do that, that you will experience considerable growth, considerable expansion in this area of life that will allow you more stability financially. So I hope that you will have a great year with Jupiter in your second house. And yeah, I'm wishing you a great day. So for Taurus rising, I hope you're doing amazing. So this is your reading for Jupiter entering the sign of Taurus from May 1st, 2024 until May 15th, 2025. So this is a very exciting time for Taurus rising. We're going to have Jupiter entering your first house for the next year, really marking a brand new cycle, really marking a brand new era or cycle of 12 years that is starting with Jupiter entering your first house. So we can see here Jupiter right here in the sign of Taurus, and we can see that this lands in your first house area of life. So Jupiter is a planet of luck, abundance, expansion. It really grows anything it touches, and it brings ease and brings flow, and general sense of things just kind of being more easily navigated in this area of life wherever it lands. And for Taurus rising, this is quite relevant because the first house is the house of the self. It's the house of new beginnings. It's the house of your identity and how you portray yourself to the rest of the world. It's really the house that rules. It's the most personal house. It really rules you, who you are, how you present yourself, your physical self as well, your physical appearance, your physical body, as well as your focus, where you're going. It is also considered the first house of the zodiac wheel, so hence it is related to a new beginning, to a new cycle. And so for Taurus rising, there might definitely be this energy of fresh new beginnings that is starting, especially with Jupiter spending time in your 12th house last year, which was definitely a time of inner reflection, which was definitely a time of purging, which was definitely a time of endings, because the 12th house is naturally affiliated with an ending. And so with Jupiter now entering your first house, there's kind of like a completion process of this kind of time of ending and of purging old things. And now it's like you're jumping into this brand new cycle where, the time in isolation is done, the time where, you're kind of just more behind the scenes and kind of introspecting and again, ending certain cycles in your life is done. And you're kind of re-emerging again as this new person, this new identity, and kind of ready to tackle a brand new cycle. So you can often find that whenever Jupiter does go into your first house, it's a usually a major time of new beginnings. There's massive changes in your life and also in who you are as a person. And Jupiter is really going to grow and expand that for the next year. Now, Jupiter in the first house, again, there's a massive focus and growth in the first house area of life, which is yourself, who you are, and your identity. So this may be a year where you're really growing in new ways in literally who you are, what you want out of your life, and how you portray yourself to the rest of the world. So this may be a time where you suddenly become more visible or you're at ease with becoming more visible because you're discovering or portraying more of who you are, and that's kind of ready to be shining, to be kind of shined in the light during the next year. So this can be an auspicious time for you to really discover yourself and to really grow in your self-concept. Obviously the first house is the house of the physical appearance and the physical body. So this can be a time where there is, growth or an upgrade in your appearance. Maybe it's a year where you start going to the gym more often. Maybe it's a year where you change up your style, you change up the haircut, or something happens that really makes you more attractive or really expands your sense of appearance in a way that's very aligned with you. And all in all, like Jupiter in the first house really rules, again, the themes of who you are and your life. And Jupiter is a planet of and learning, wisdom, traveling, luck, and abundance. So there can be more like there can just generally be like a more Jupiterian theme to your next year, meaning that themes of Jupiter are very loudly expressed in your life in the next year. So again, joy, expansion, traveling, learning, more wisdom. But growth and expansion is especially a big one. Again, new cycle is starting and you're growing in a new way in your sense of self and your sense of who you are through this new cycle beginning. And so that's generally one of the biggest themes of Jupiter in your first house is expansion, growth. You're going to notice that this really is the focal theme out of the next year, but great time to travel, great time to, learn, great time to put yourself more out there. There's definitely an auspicious and lucky energy that's kind of like bestowed onto you with Jupiter in the first house, because again, the first house is the house of yourself, your life, the themes of your life, and Jupiter is the luckiest planet of the zodiac. So there's kind of like a lucky streak of, abundance and growth that's really present in your life, that really marks the themes of your life for the next year. So I would say, any opportunity that comes your way, any people that comes your way, definitely pay attention to them, because Jupiter in the first house not only affects again you, but it affects all other areas of your life, because yourself are reflected in all the different other areas of your life. So the changes that are reflected in yourself are reflected also in your relationships, in your career, in your work. So Jupiter in the first house kind of brings like this expansive sense of abundance and growth in your life for the next year that will not only affect you as a person and your identity, but also potentially all other areas of life. So, needless to say, this is definitely an auspicious year for Taurus rising, where there are brand new cycles starting, brand new changes that are being initiated, and just brand new growth and expansion in who you are as a person. New things are starting for you, new beginnings are starting for you, and that's definitely the year that marks this. So yeah, I would say for Taurus rising, embrace change, embrace new beginnings, focus on yourself, your identity. Who are you? Who do you want to be? How do you want the rest of the world to see you? Maybe your physical appearance, focus a little bit on that as well. Like, what's your style? What can you do to take care of your body even more, to showcase who you are, in a more grand way. And then, again, just self-discovery, really leaning into growing yourself in the most beneficial way. So that's really what I would say for Taurus rising for the next year. So I hope that you have a great next year, and I'm wishing you an amazing day. So, hello, Gemini rising. I hope you're doing amazing. So, this is your reading for Jupiter entering the sign of Taurus from May 1st until May 14th, 2025. And so, Jupiter is going to enter a new sign and it's going to really enter a new cycle of growth, expansion, and luck in a brand new area of life. And so, we're going to look into where this is hitting in your chart and kind of what you can expect and how you can utilize this energy in the best possible way. And so Jupiter is a planet of luck, expansion, growth. It really grows anything it touches. It brings a deeper sense of ease and flow into a certain area of life, because this area is meant to grow and expand in new ways and in ways that are potentially very beneficial. And so we're going to look at how this affects you. We can see right here Jupiter in the sign of Taurus moving in on May 1st. And we can also see that this is hitting your 12th house, meaning that it will be affecting your 12th house area of life. And so Jupiter is going to grow the themes of the 12th house. It's going to bring ease and flow. And more luck into this area of life as well. And so what is the 12th house? The 12th house is considered, as you can see, the last house of the zodiac wheel. So it is traditionally the house of endings, the house of, death, the house of things that are, reaching their culmination point. It's also the house of isolation, really alone time. And it is one of the most spiritual houses of the zodiac. It rules everything that is in the unseen world. So everything that is otherworldly, everything that we cannot see or perceive with our five senses. So it is really the house of undoing, and detaching from the physical world and connecting to what's usually hidden, whether that is a sense of spirituality, whether that is a sense of faith, or whether that is, our own unconscious or subconscious selves. And so I consider the 12th house in a lot of ways to be related to, for example, themes of mental health or trauma in a way, because the 12th house tends to really, it brings up the gunk that's usually hidden from us, you know, in our subconscious, in our unconscious self, for it to kind of be addressed and then released and purged gently, making way for, you know, the new energy that is achieved when Jupiter or any planet then regresses and moves, sorry, into the first house, which is a house of new beginning and the emerging of the new self. And so with Jupiter in the 12th house, we can definitely expect, you know, a certain nudging towards the inner world, a certain nudging towards spending more time alone and maybe addressing things that are usually hidden from you so that you can kind of repress and engage in certain endings in your life. Usually when Jupiter is in the 12th house, it's really, you know, a time of isolation, a time of retreat, and usually it's just generally a time of endings. There's a lot of endings that happen, you know, a lot of cycles that are ending. And it, you know, just to kind of talk personally here, I remember last time I had Jupiter in my 12th house was actually, I think I was a 17 and right about to move away from home, move away from parents, and it was kind of like this 1 year of like addressing any fear or anything that would, you know, involve this new change that would happen, you know, in the next year. And so it was really like this process of self-reflection and internal space. And it was really this time of, you know, embracing certain endings that were announcing themselves in my life. So this is kind of a similar energy that you can expect over the next year. This can also be a considerable time of, you know, new spiritual growth, new spiritual wisdom and realization. You know, the 12th house, again, is a connection to the otherworldly matters. So this can be an amazing time to focus on spiritual matters, to focus on your own inner world, your intuition, any spiritual occult wisdom, you know, astrology, mysticism, all of that is definitely 12th house themes. You know, it's a very like internal, studious, like kind of understanding the otherworldly matters even more. And this can also give you a deeper sense of faith and a deeper sense of belief in a way in what's hidden, in what's beyond the physical world. So it can actually be very beautiful in that way. You know, so I would definitely say if you have the opportunity to learn about this world, if a spiritual teacher comes your way and wants to help you understand this world, then definitely lead into it and spend this time pondering over it. Because the 12th house can also be related in some way to faith and to religion, mostly because again, it's the connection to something bigger, something that's you know, that is otherworldly, something that is bigger than us anyways. So this can actually be a very beautiful time of expansion and growth in that sense. But all in all, you know, like again, Jupiter is going to bestow more luck and abundance to the 12th house matter. And so you're actually going to grow the most by spending time inwards, you know, by spending time in inner contemplation, by spending time in meditation. And the other thing about the 12th house is, again, because it's like it's related to what we hide from, what we repress, it's very possible with Jupiter in the 12th house that you might have to address certain parts of yourself that are usually hidden. And that's why I say that, you know, this is a transit that can potentially address matters of, you know, like mental illness or trauma and such, because Jupiter is going to expand, again, grow anything it touches. And when it's in the 12th house, it grows what's hidden usually from us, you know? So if we have some old fears, some old anxieties, some old, you know, trauma or energy that we usually repress and we don't see anymore, and it's time for us to address it, you know, trust that Jupiter will really expand this and will make them more aware for us on the surface. But so this is actually like someone might perceive this as being, you know, really unfortunate, but I think it's actually a great time to do some inner work, you know, to do some shadow work, to do any kind of psychological work as well. Could be a great time to, you know, consult a psychologist or have therapy done or whatsoever, because you may have certain old energies that are going to come up to the surface and are going to really ask you to look at yourself internally and kind of analyze, okay, what is this emotion? What is this? What's coming up here internally, and where does that come from? And, you know, can I let this go? Can I fully purge this? So again, because the 12th house is the house of endings, you're gonna be, you know, ushered to really engage in those endings, in those things that must leave, in those things that have run their course in your life. whether that is an internal set of energies of anxiety, of old trauma, or whether that is some relationships, whether that is a job, whether that is a home, things that have run their course and that are ready to really move on, or be let go so that you can move on in a brand new cycle, are really going to be addressed. And so when Jupiter then moves into Gemini, which is going to be your first house, you're going to really feel this new cycle, this new energy where you're entering a completely different phase of your life. But before that, there needs to be the addressing of what's old, and the ending of what's old and no longer sustainable in your life as well. So I would say for Gemini rising, welcome death, welcome endings. Be okay with that and know that, again, because Jupiter is a beneficial energy, it's not going to just end things. Well, any planet is not going to end things, against our greatest potential. It's really all there for us, but especially with Jupiter, it can make this process more easy, more flowing, yeah, more understanding. And so, especially with Jupiter in the 12th house, trust any endings, trust anything that wants to leave your life, as something that is absolutely necessary, and kind of just flow with that if you can lean into that. And I know for Gemini rising, it might be difficult to spend more time alone or be more internal, unless you have some other chart placements that are very naturally introspective. But Gemini risings as a rising sign tends to be quite stimulated and like the connections and like the social interactions. So it might be a bit of a difficult transition for them to be more alert and attentive to their inner world. But know that it is necessary. It is temporary as well, and for you to move into this new energy, this new cycle, you probably have to address and connect to yourself internally and in a bigger way. And trust that by doing that, you will gain new expansion, new abundance. And yeah, it's going to be definitely very beneficial for you. So I definitely wish you the best with this transit over the next year, and make the best out of it as well. And I hope you have a great day. Hello, Cancer rising. I hope you're doing amazing. So we're actually going to get into the transit of Jupiter going into Taurus for the next year. We're going to look into how this is affecting you personally, and really look at the themes that are going to be expected and expansive. Hello, Cancer rising. I hope you're doing amazing. So, we're going to look into the transit of Jupiter going into Taurus for the next year from May 1st, 2024 until May 14th, 2025. And we're going to really look at the themes that are going to be highlighted from this transit, what's going to be expanded from Jupiter going into a certain realm of your life. And we're going to really explore that and explore how you can optimize this energy to its full potential. So let me just move the chart first of all to Cancer. Probably should have done that prior. But essentially, Jupiter is going to move into the sign of Taurus for the next year. Jupiter naturally is a planet of growth, expansion, luck, abundance, and flow. It brings more expansion to anything that it touches. It grows anything that it touches. And it's also a very benevolent energy. And so it brings more ease, more flow, more abundance to any area of life that it touches. So I find it's always a really good thing to keep track of Jupiter and where it is in our chart, in order to really know which area of life is kind of getting like a little bit of a green card, a little bit of a push for more growth, for more ease. And it's really where that we can experience, again, more abundance in our lives. And so Jupiter is moving in Taurus, and obviously for you, if we locate it, here's Jupiter right now moving into Taurus on May 1st. We can see that this is actually touching your 11th house area of life. So this means that these themes are going to be expanded for the next year, and they're going to experience considerable growth, abundance, and flow for you in the next coming year. And so what is the 11th house? The 11th house is the house of large groups, large communities, as well as our friendships. It's really the house where, a group of people come together and, have an influence, or are able to make a considerable change together, through having this kind of group-like mentality. So it's really about organizations, large communities, and our groups of friends. The 11th house can also be related to long-term goals, long-term wishes, and ideals. So it can definitely be a house that really deals with themes of long-term hopes and wishes. But generally speaking, with the 11th house, we talk about one of the most social and community-oriented houses in the birth chart or in the chart, generally speaking. So with Jupiter moving in the 11th house, we can definitely expect some new growth, some new expansion, and a lot of luck that comes through this area of life. This can definitely be a time for Cancer rising where I would say be social, socialize, 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 be in groups of people, be in your tribe, be with the people that you align with the most, like integrate yourself in groups, in communities, in co like let's say you're really into like reading. Then immerse yourself in a book club where there's a group of people. If you're a musician, then maybe go into this big music I don't know, like a meetup with a lot of people who like to play the same kind of music as you. If you are a financial guru, let's say, like immerse yourself in groups that are related to things that you love, that are related to things that you naturally align with, because this is where you might actually find yourself aligning and really expanding your self of community through, finding out new groups of people that really resonate with you and that actually bring you this sense of expansion, joy, and optimism. So this is not a time to be too alone, possibly for Cancer rising. There's definitely a lot of growth and expansion that can be had from immersing yourself in a group of people. And so when it comes to friendships as well, this may be a time where your sense of friendships really grow and expand in new ways for the next year. This may be a time where you meet friends that end up having a really relevant effect in your life and can be, like a friend for life or a friend that you end up really keeping around you for a long, long period of time. This can also be the case for a group. Maybe you immerse yourself in some sort of committee or organization that you end up, really that end up having a really positive impact on you and that end up really allowing you to expand in a very positive way, not just for this year, but for the next, how long time to come, I find this is such a beautiful time to meet really, really beneficial relationships in your life, that will be with you for a long time, possibly, So this is definitely a time to immerse yourself in that social life. This can be a time because Jupiter brings luck and abundance and ease wherever it goes, where it's easy to be with a lot of people. You make those connections quite easily with Jupiter in the 11th house. And this is also a time where friends can bring you some degree of luck. Maybe your friends want to help you out in a certain way. Wait, maybe you meet a group of people that are like, hey, like, you want to be a musician? We've actually got this band coming up that's, playing at this place, and then, we could get you there and we can allow you to have this opportunity. Or, if you're a writer, maybe you kind of enter like this writing club and people have like these connections as to, how you could potentially, uh, evolve in a certain way in your own craft or whatsoever. Friendships, groups could be very beneficial for you. They could bring you some level of abundance and growth. And so look out for friends who want to help you out for the next year. Allow those people to come to you, allow those people to give to you in a way that in the ways that they want, allow yourself to receive from the people around you, whether it's help, whether it's something physical, like like resources, whether it's help on a more emotional or spiritual level. It's not going to be hard for you to really receive that support from your groups, from your community, and from your friendships. And it's going to be such a beautiful year to feel that you belong to something bigger in terms of like a community or a group. And maybe that this group or community could have a very positive impact, because the 11th house is also a very humanitarian house. It's about groups of people that come together and could potentially offer a difference, or make a difference that's considerable for society. So this may be a time where maybe you engage in something that's more humanitarian. Maybe you engage in some sort of humanitarian causes. Maybe you enter a group of like advocates for I don't know, like animal rights, and maybe that becomes something that you're very invested in and you find a lot of purpose or growth through immersing yourself in a group project that really makes a difference, because coming together as a community or group and engaging in something collectively is going to have such a much bigger ripple of effect than doing it alone, right? And that's a big lesson of the 11th house. So I would say this could be something very beneficial or possible for Cancer risings as well. And the other thing about the 11th house is it is associated in the modern system of astrology with long-term dreams, goals, and wishes. So this can be a time either where, a long-term dream or goal of yours kind of like it feels closer than it used to. Maybe there's a possibility for it to be realized sooner than later. Maybe it's something that you can actually move towards in a greater way for the next year. Or maybe this is you figuring out in a more clearer way what those long-term dreams, hopes, and wishes actually are for you. And you can kind of really make those things much clearer and move towards those things in a greater way. So this can be a great time to think about, what is your end goal? What is your end plan? What are you striving for in the long, long term? Make those things clear and make those things really available in your mind, and then actually maybe lay out the plan or the foundation to how you can move towards those long-term wishes and goals. So this is definitely potentially a very idealistic time that I would say for a Cancer rising. So yeah, I think that's it for Cancer rising with Jupiter and Taurus. Again, be social, immerse yourself in groups. If you even if you're not, someone super social, chances are those friends are probably going to end up finding you anyway. So you're probably going to be pulled out of your cave to socialize, or give yourself a little push to immerse yourself in groups that align with things that you love. Again, that's going to be something really beneficial, really fruitful, very positive for you. So I'm wishing you the best next year with this transit, and sending you a lot of good energy. Hello, Leo risings. I hope you're doing amazing. So, welcome to your reading for Jupiter entering the sign of Taurus for the next year. So, Jupiter is going to enter Taurus from May 1st, 2024 until May 14th, 2025, allowing us this new cycle of expansion and growth in a brand new area of life. So, we're going to get into this and how this is going to affect you personally and how you can utilize those energies specifically, considering which part of your chart that this is hitting. So Jupiter is a planet of growth, expansion, luck, abundance, and ease. It really grows and expands anything that it touches, and it allows more ease and more flow to any area of life that it touches as well. So it's really like this little green card of like, allowing us to push or to really grow a certain area of life in a more easeful way. Jupiter really allows us to kind of get into this process of new expansion in a very flowing and abundant way in this area of life for the coming year. So I always find that it's very important to know where Jupiter is traveling, because it's an area of life where we can focus a lot of energy. We can kind of milk this, process of luck and growth, considering that it's going to be easier for us to grow in a certain way in this area of life. And so this is really what this video is going to explain for you. And so with Jupiter moving into Taurus, obviously we see Jupiter here in the sign of Taurus on May 1st, 2024. We can also see that for Leo risings, this is located in your 10th house. And so this means that the 10th house area of life is going to experience considerable growth, considerable expansion, and more luck and abundance for the next coming year. So what is the 10th house area of life? This is the house of career. This is the house of your professional achievement. This is the house of your reputation. It's really the house of how the public sees you, how the general, public sees you as a person. So that's why it really rules again your reputation and your public persona. And so with Jupiter moving in your 10th house of career, it's very simple, kind of straight to the point. There's definitely going to be some considerable growth, some considerable expansion in the realm of career. So that can look like changing into a new job. That can look into like, getting a new promotion. That can look like, expanding your business, expanding your sense of professional self, and expanding your reputation as well. So for Leo risings, like this is a time to just hone in on anything career related, really push to be exposed in the public eye, really push to, put in the work in your career life, because this could have some major positive repercussions where there's definitely a possibility for growth when it comes to your exposure in the public. Again, your reputation could experience some new form of expansion and abundance where maybe more people know you as the person who offers this type of service, as the person who is this kind of, practitioner. If you're, I don't know, a physiotherapist, this may be a year where your career really takes a new turn, where maybe now like most people in your town do know you as the main physiotherapist to go to when it comes to having an issue with their body in a certain way. That's just one example of putting it, but whatever your craft is, whatever your talent or your career, revolves around, this can be a time where, again, this really gets recognized even more. And so your reputation as someone who practices this career or this specific field really gets expanded, and you kind of get more easily placed in the public eye. There's opportunities for you to really, really grow in the public eye according to your career and your what you practice in the public eye. And so for Leo risings, obviously, this is really a time to hone in and milk this opportunity. This is a time where you're going to want to focus on anything career related, on business. Because Jupiter rules traveling, could also potentially be a year where tr your career could involve traveling, or you could travel for work. So definitely welcome that if it comes about. But overall, this is really like a brand new growth, expansion, and luck when it comes to your public persona and your reputation and how the external world sees you. So for Leo risings, it's very simple. Like, put yourself out there. Really, don't be shy. Don't be shy of being seen. Don't be shy of acknowledging your own talents in your field of work, in your business. And make people aware that you practice this thing or that your career revolves around that. This could be a great time to either network or to put focus on social media or anything that allows you exposure to the public eye, because naturally this will fuel into this already expansive energy that's kind of really being put in your professional or public self. And so, yeah, this is definitely something that's on the rise for you. If something happens that, you lose a job, or, just something that you might originally think is misfortunate around your career, rest assured, Jupiter, whenever it always has a gift for us. It always has some sort of luck or abundance. So even if you do lose a job, trust that this is actually going to end up being very lucky and expensive for you, as it is in the nature of Jupiter. And of course, for you, it is going to be in the realm of career. So if you do end up losing a job, know that another one that's probably very beneficial for you is right around the corner. Know that, a brand new beginning, a brand new expansion in your career is not too far away, and definitely trust that process. So this is definitely a time again for Leo rising to assess your career. Are you doing what feels genuinely very aligned with you? If not, take the leap of faith, whether that's starting a business, whether that's growing into a new field, whatever it is, like really time to think about, like, who am I in the public sphere? What do I want to build for myself? What kind of reputation do I want to build for myself? And what are the steps that I need to take to grow this, and take action, really, really build that authority and that reputation. It's going to be more easy for you to do that. You're going to have easier opportunities to climb up in the public view, in the public eye. And that's going to really positively impact your reputation. So, I would definitely say that these are like the biggest tips for Leo. Again, analyze your career life right now. What's working, what's not working, what is aligned and what is not. And if it's not aligned, take that leap of faith. And if it is aligned and you're ready to grow some more and you want to grow some more, take that leap of faith again. Because whatever leap of faith you take around your career is gonna be supported. You're gonna be really easily able to maneuver a new level of growth and expansion in this area of life. So I'm really wishing you an amazing transit. That's an amazing year for Leo risings, and especially knowing that Leo risings don't mind to be seen, you know. Naturally, they do thrive in the public eye, and they do thrive having the eyes on them. And so that's probably going to be an easier thing for them to do unless they have other very introspective, you know, placements in their charts. But regardless, I'm wishing you the best of luck with that, and I wish you an amazing day. Hello, Virgo rising. I hope you're doing amazing. So today we're going to be talking about Jupiter's transit into Taurus for the next year and that how that's going to be affecting you personally. So Jupiter's going to transit the sign of Taurus from May 1st, 2024 until May 14th, 2025, bringing a new sense of expansion, a new sense of growth, abundance, and flow in a brand new area of life. And so Jupiter is a planet of growth, expansion, luck, abundance. It really grows anything that it touches. It really expands anything it touches, and it brings a deeper sense of ease, flow, and abundance to anything that it touches as well. So whichever area of life that it ends up being in, it brings a deeper sense of like, yeah, we're able to move through this area of life in a more easeful way, and we're kind of growing in a new way that's a very kind of natural, almost like effortless in this area of life for the next year. So I always like to kind of keep in track of Jupiter and where it is because I can kind of really milk this area of life for the next year, knowing that there are you know, very easy expansions and very easy or easily accessible abundance and flow that is available in this area of life. And so that's exactly what we're going to get into in this video. So let me first of all change the chart to the Virgo rising because that would help. But yeah, so Jupiter is moving into the sign of Taurus, as I said, bringing new growth, new expansion to a new area of life. So for Virgo risings, we can actually see here Jupiter in my chart in Taurus on the 1st of May. And we can also see that Taurus covers the ninth house area of life. So this is the house that will be in the limelight in terms of new growth, new abundance, and new expansion for Virgo risings in the next year. So this is a very exciting time because the ninth house is naturally the house of Jupiter. Jupiter likes being in the ninth house. It feels very much at home because Jupiter is the planet of wisdom and faith and eh, our sense of perspective, our sense of faith, and also our belief systems and what we believe to be true. And that's exactly what the ninth house is. It is the house of higher sets of wisdom, more abstract and metaphysical kinds of knowledge that really allow us to kind of shape our general overall perspective and belief system when it comes to how we perceive life. That's another reason why the ninth house is often associated with religion, with faith, generally speaking, because religion is a practice that can allow us to shape our higher-minded set of belief systems about life and what we believe to be true in terms of life and how it is orchestrated. Same for philosophy. The ninth house is very much associated with philosophy because philosophy is just another medium that allows us to find out our greater or larger truth or belief systems around life and how it is orchestrated. So that's really going to be in the picture for Virgo risings is understanding, you know, and expanding, especially our belief systems in a brand new way. Because with Taurus in the ninth house, Virgo risings, your belief systems might be pretty stern or pretty fixed and might not be necessarily very changeable. But with Jupiter coming there, there's definitely an expansion, some sort of growth or change coming through in your belief systems. And that could come through many ways. That could come through you exploring, you know, kind of knowledge that is higher minded, such as, you know, some new philosophical books or some new religious text, or maybe it's you just exploring different sets of higher minded wisdom or knowledge that really shapes the way that you think of the world and perceive of the world in a brand new way, in a more expansive way. This could also come through an experience of traveling. The ninth house does represent overseas and long distance traveling, and you know, really immersing yourself in a brand new culture, in a brand new environment is usually an experience that's greatly expansive in terms of, you know, shaping your perspective of life, shaping your perspective of how things work, because immersing yourself in a brand new culture, brand new religion, brand new way of being really alters the way that you can actually see life, you know, regarding how those people actually approach their lives, which can be very different from you. So it can come through either the exploration of higher sets of knowledge and wisdom, or, you know, a traveling experience that ends up being very beneficial for you and really grows you and expands you in a brand new way. But for Virgo risings, generally speaking, there is more of an available nature to knowledge, to traveling. Maybe this is a time where you can meet a teacher, or you meet, or you come about some sort of teaching that feels very abundant for you, that feels very expansive. Again, it allows for a lot of growth, and that growth especially targets, again, your belief systems and your perspective. And I find that when Jupiter travels through the ninth house, it's a time during the 12-year cycle of Jupiter where there's a lot of wisdom that can be obtained by someone. Usually at the end of that 1 year transit, it's a time where you can really feel like you have gotten a lot of wisdom. And you may even choose to publish or share that wisdom because the ninth house can be associated with publishing or sharing. So if you are in a time where you're learning a lot of things, you may be inclined to teach them or to just share them, generally speaking. And for that, I definitely encourage that for the ninth house, because you're definitely going to be gaining some new sets of wisdom, perspective, or knowledge around the world that others could benefit from, you know? In other word, the ninth house is also associated to teaching. So this may be a time if you are someone that is a teacher or that has a lot of knowledge about something, you may be pulled towards the role of the teacher a little bit more, and to share wisdom, to share information. So you're either going to be a student or a teacher in that year. You could be both as well. I know I personally was both when I went through this transit. But it's going to be a very intellectually driven year. So if you're someone who's, naturally inclined towards that, it's going to be great. If not, you're definitely going to grow in a lot of ways through exploring intellectual matters, and that different sets of wisdom that allow you again to have a deeper sense of perspective around life. And that's really beautiful, honestly, because perspective is one of the most, important things that we nurture in our lives, like the greater sense of faith or perspective that we have around things it's greatly important. And that's something that's really going to grow in a beneficial way with Jupiter in the ninth house. Also, I didn't mention it, but traveling, if you get any opportunities to travel during this time, I would definitely take it. It is definitely going to be very fruitful, expansive, lucky. It could be a great experience that really grows you a lot as a person, brings you a lot of abundance and new perspective. So I definitely recommend, either planning a traveling endeavor, or if anything like that comes your way, definitely take the chance to do it. But yeah, all in all, that's definitely what's in the cards for Virgo rising. So I would say for Virgo rising, generally be open to learning, be open to teaching, question your belief systems, allow your belief systems to be re-questioned or explored in a brand new way. And welcome any kind of new teaching or knowledge that wants to enter your life at this time. And if you're called to share this knowledge, especially at the end of the transit, please do so, because it could benefit a lot of people. And definitely take the chance to travel if you can. So I'm wishing you a great next year with this transit coming up. Make the best out of it, and hope you have a great rest of your day. Hello, Libra risings. I hope you're doing amazing. So this is your video, or the Hello, Libra risings. I hope you're doing amazing. So today we're going to talk about Jupiter moving into Taurus for a whole year from May 1st, 2024 until May 15th, 2025, where it's going to be expanding and growing a brand new area of life in a new way for the next coming year. So we're going to talk about where this is going to be hitting in your chart, how you can optimize this energy, and what you can expect. But Jupiter is a planet of growth, abundance, expansion. It really grows anything that it touches, and it brings more ease, more flow to an area of life, as it is more naturally growing and expanding in a brand new way. So I always find it's important to look at where Jupiter is traveling to really know which area of life we can kind of milk this energy in. We can kind of put more focus towards this area of life as it is kind of in the hot seats for some new abundant expansion. So we're going to look at where that really happens for you, Libra rising. So Jupiter right here, you can see it in the chart. It's at 0 degrees of Taurus on May 1st. And so we can also see that for Libra risings, this is hitting the 8th house area of life, meaning that this is the house that's going to be expanding, growing in a new way. And there's going to be some sort of new abundance, and new flow, and a very easy flow entering this area of life for the next year. And so what is the 8th house? First of all, the 8th house is the house of death and rebirth. It is the house of a transformation. It's the house of the shadows, everything that is hidden from us. So it does rule like everything that we tend to repress, all energies that we tend to repress. Whether it is fear, anxiety, or old traumas or anything like that, that we usually hide from. It is also the house of everything that is taboo, occult, and a bit unconventional. So it does naturally rule, sexuality and the occult. So like astrology and all of that practice as well, that's more hidden or more taboo from society. It does rule, overall blending with other people. It's the house that really rules intimacy, that rules what happens when we blend with someone else, not just sexually, but also psychologically and financially as well, because the eighth house also rules finances and money that comes from other people. So either from clients or either an inheritance or either a loan from the bank or a return from an investment. So it really rolls external sources of resources, but it really does involve the blending with other people in a more intimate way. So with Jupiter in the eighth house, you can expect definitely that the themes of the eighth house are going to be expanded. And I laugh because, it's quite the spicy themes, I will say. And I find with Jupiter going into the eighth house, yes, there can be a highlight on intimacy, you can find that your relationships in your life, either their friendships or something romantic, they can grow much more intimate, where maybe like you're more at ease with talking about things that are deeper, more, usually in the shadow. And through that process, you gain more intimacy with another person, with the people in your life. The bonds grow closer. And I find that in that realm, it's very beautiful, the process of Jupiter in the eighth house. There can definitely be more of a focus on, sexuality as well, and discovering that area and discovering this area of life, and how you approach it for you as well. And it can also be, with Jupiter in the eighth house, bringing in more ease, more flow, and more abundance. We could potentially expect new abundance when it comes to other people's money. So, if you potentially want to make a loan with a bank during this year, it could potentially be easier for you to do that, or maybe you can get a very big tax return from the government on this year, or maybe this is a year where you kind of merge with a partner and then you have more resources available to you. Maybe you move in with them and now you have another car, or now you have like a house, and your resources can grow through other people. Maybe other people want to give to you in a brand new way. Maybe someone wants you to, maybe they want to borrow, you can borrow someone's car, or you can kind of have access to more resources through other people. The eighth house is the house of death. So, traditionally having Jupiter go through the eighth house can sometimes be a little bit intense. Even if Jupiter is a very benevolent, beneficial energy, it still, can be somewhat intense and bring up intense themes when it is traveling certain houses like the eighth house or the 12th house. Notably with the eighth house, it's really making death kind of like at the forefront of the focus. So it's definitely a year potentially of endings. It's definitely a year of addressing things that are usually hidden, looking at things that are also usually in the shadows from you. But with that comes the great potential for transformation. And I find that the main theme also with Jupiter in the eighth house is transformation. Usually you go out of your transit of Jupiter in the eighth house after a year, not the same person, not in the same life, potentially having changed a lot of things again from engaging in that process of death, from engaging in things that are usually hidden from you and purging them, adequately as it is time to do so. Unfortunately, like some people sometimes they associate Jupiter in the eighth house as like, oh my God, is there going to be a death physically in the family, whatever, or in my life? Not necessarily, like it could, unfortunately it could happen. But it's more of like a figurative death, of maybe a part of you really dying or a chapter of your life dying. And so that's why it's really, really linked to transformation. And that's why going out of your Jupiter in the eighth house transit, you feel like you've entered a new life, because a part of you, a part of your life, figuratively has died and has transformed. But don't expect that this will come easily. Of course, This will probably come through you having to expose potentially some shadows, some things that you hide from, some things that are uncomfortable, some uncomfortable truth have to be, confronted. You have to kind of dig in that shadows and in that root and kind of see yourself and the parts of yourself that you don't want to see. But through doing that, you will be able to engage in some very powerful transformations. And again, because Jupiter is so beneficial, so lucky, even if that work is difficult, even if that work can be, a bit intense, trust that any transformation, any change that is engaged, any death that, is experienced is ultimately extremely abundant, is ultimately very expansive, and is going to bring you so much ease and flow in your life. So do trust that process for Libra risings. That transformation is imminent, and it is going to be very lucky for you if you engage in that process. But yes, it could be intense. Now, the eighth house is the house of the occults, the house of psychology and astrology. And it's really about like going to the core of ourselves, really understanding the core of who we are. So this can be a great time to delve into the occults, to delve into astrology, to delve into any kind of like mystical practices. Can be a great time to actually go in therapy, like to engage in some kind of practice that can help you understand yourself on a deeper level, so that you can really understand the parts of yourself that maybe you didn't know before, that you maybe were in the shadows, maybe address old traumas, old fears, old anxieties, and again, engage in some sort of psychological transformation through that. So I find this is such an amazing transit to either go see, a psychologist or even an astrologer, get your birth chart read. Services are through my email down below, Libra Risings. But all this to say, can be a great time to delve into yourself in a deeper way, understand yourself and even life in a more deeper, more profound way. So I would definitely say, engage into that if you are into those things. Again, inheritances could be possible. I don't like to mention it, but like, like having an inheritance through a death, for example, could happen. It doesn't mean that it's going to happen, but again, having maybe some sort of more available resources from other people. If you have a business, this can mean more clients. An investment as well could be fruitful. Investing in certain things can be, very fruitful as well during this time. But I'm not a financial advisor, so please do your research before doing any investments. But all this to say that it can be lucky with Jupiter in the eighth house. But yeah, I think overall, those are the themes. I would say generally for Libra risings for your next year, be okay and comfortable with the process of death, be okay with a cycle of your life coming into an end, and be okay with transformation. Yes, certain things will be brought up, and yes, you're going to be asked to change in a brand new way. But if you engage in that, if you accept that and surrender, trust me, it's going to be the best transformation, the best change, the best death. The death that's going to bring you the best life. It's going to be the best process of death that you could possibly engage in. And I would say for Libra risings as well, be intimate with people, like allow yourself to open up to people, allow yourself to merge with people a lot more. And I'm not just meaning merging sexually, I'm meaning merging psychologically, emotionally, share more of yourself with other people. That's going to be very expensive, very lucky for you. Build those deeper bonds with people. And build those deeper bonds within yourself as well. Look at yourself in a deeper way. Look at your shadows. If anything's coming up, have the courage to address that. Go to therapy, go see an astrologer, understand yourself in a deeper level, get into mysticism. All of those are very good for Libra risings, but I definitely wish you luck. And I definitely, for number one for you guys, is just lean into the transformation. Just lean into the death and fully embrace that transformative process. So I'm wishing you the best with that for the next year, and I hope you have a great day. Hello, Scorpio risings. I hope you're doing amazing. So today we're actually going to talk about the transit of Jupiter entering Taurus from May 1st, 2024 until May 14th, 2025. So there's a brand new area of life that's going to be experiencing new expansion, new growth, new abundance. And we're going to get into this and how this is going to affect you, how you can what you can expect from this transit, and how you can utilize this energy for the upcoming year. So Jupiter is a planet of growth, expansion, luck, abundance. It brings more ease and more flow to wherever it travels, and it also expands and grows anything that it touches. So I find that it's very important to keep track of where Jupiter is transiting in my chart, or in the chart generally speaking, of a client, because this can really show an area of life where person can kind of milk this energy and kind of like put more energy in this area of life, because there is definitely luck, growth, and abundance available to you in this sector of life for the next year, because Jupiter is one of the most beneficial planets in the system. And so it really allows us, again, some sort of gift in any area of life that it travels in for a year. So we're going to get into this and what that means for Scorpio rising. So I have the chart for Scorpio rising right now. We can see Jupiter in Taurus at 0 degrees on May 1st, 2024. And so we can also see that this is hitting your seventh house area of life, and it's going to be there for the next year. Now, what is the seventh house area of life? It is the house of your one-to-one relationships, your personal one-to-one relationships, whether it is a close friend, whether it is a partner, like a romantic partner, whether it is a business partner as well. It's also the house of marriage. Your marriage partner whatsoever. And it is really the house of joining with another person in a more personal way. It is also the house of contractual relationships. So any relationships that are based like on an agreement or a contract. For example, a lawyer, maybe like a financial advisor, like a business partner, whatever it is, like whatever there's a kind of like a contract going on, or a like agreement, that's this, in the realm of the seventh house. And so with Jupiter moving into your seventh house for the next year, we can definitely expect some sort of new expansion, new growth happening in this area of life. So this is definitely the time for Scorpio risings to be social, to get out there, to meet new people, to put yourself in new kinds of situations where you can join with new people, to expand your network, expand your social group. Not only is it going to be very natural for you to do that, but it's going to be very abundant and lucky. You're going to notice that you meet people that are potentially going to really help you expand in brand new ways. Your relationships really take on the energies of Jupiter for the next year, meaning that they're more lucky, they're more abundant, and they also allow for more expansion and growth. So it's very beautiful when Jupiter goes into your seventh house, because you can really meet people that are, again, very lucky for you, very abundant for you. It's people that potentially want to help you, people that kind of see your potential, and they're like, hey, like, like they've got something for you, whether it's knowledge, whether it's resources, whatever it is, people kind of want to give to you a little bit more during that time. But also, they really allow you to grow in new ways. This could be a year where you meet a teacher, for example. If I reflect for myself personally, when Jupiter was in my seventh house, I met my astrology teacher. So this can be a time where you meet people that really you can learn from, you can grow through those people. So you really expand as a person through your one-to-one relationships at this time. And this can be a time where you do meet relationships that are very relevant in your life. This can be a year where you meet a friend for life, for example. This can be a year where you meet a partner. This can be a year for someone who is in a relationship, that they get married, they get engaged, whatever it is. But they can meet a partner that's very relevant for them during that yearly period. If you are already in a relationship, or if you already have very good relationships, this is a year where they get even better. Like this is a year where relationships are smoother. If there's any conflicts with people, they can kind of be straightened out. They can feel like more, yeah, they can just feel more smooth, more harmonious, more balanced during this yearly period. So this is a great time for just existing relationships. But because Jupiter rules expansion and growth, I recommend, growing the network, meeting new people. And this is just a great time to do that. You might notice that, at the end of that year period, that your network has grown considerably, that you've met a whole new group of people that are now very important for you in your life, that you've met a partner, that you've met a best friend, whatever it is, definitely just put yourself out there. Just be social, just put yourself in a new environment, or in a place where you can meet new people that are very aligned with you. And I would say, especially, which is my tip for people generally speaking, if they want to meet more people, but especially for Scorpio rising, is put yourself in situations or in communities that really align with your values. So if you're a musician, for example, get yourself in like a music group. If you're love reading, get yourself in a book club. Like, get yourself in groups of people that really reflect something about you that you deeply value, something about you that is deeply aligned, because that's usually where you have the best chances of meeting people that are also deeply aligned with you. It's like it's kind of like logic if you think about it. But especially for Scorpio risings, I would say meet people and put yourself in situations where you allow yourself to be in groups of people that are very aligned with a part of you that you deeply resonate with. And that's really putting yourself the best cards to meet some great people in your life. So that's very simple for a Scorpio rising, very, very much to the point. It's really about your one-to-one relationships. Expect that they're going to expand, expect that they're going to grow, expect meeting new friends, new people, expect maybe changing friends. If you lose friends, if you lose some people in your network, which can happen with Jupiter, because Jupiter expands, but through the expansions, sometimes we need to let a couple things go. So if you do find yourself needing to let go of a couple people, trust the process, just trust the process, trust that this is allowing more space for you to expand in a way that's so much better, so much more aligned for you in your friendships and your relationships. So that's really my general tip for Taurus is just go out there, be social, network, meet new people, allow yourself to welcome in new people in your circle. And yeah, the focus is going to be on relationships for the next year. So I definitely wish you the best time with that, and I hope you make the most out of it. And yeah, have a great day. Hello, Sagittarius rising. I hope you're doing amazing. We are going to be going into the transit of Jupiter going into Taurus for the next year and how that's going to be affecting you. Obviously, Jupiter is moving into Taurus from May 1st until 2024 until May 14th, 2025, bringing in a new level of expansion, growth, abundance, and flow in a brand new area of life for you guys. So we're going to get into this, what you can expect, and how you can really optimize those energies for the next coming year. So let me just change my chart for Sag rising here. So obviously Jupiter is the planet of growth, expansion, luck, ease, and abundance. It really grows anything it touches, and it really allows more ease, more flow into a certain area of life because it's meant to grow in a more easier way. So I really like to always kind of look at where Jupiter travels in the chart because it's an area of life where you can kind of really milk this energy, focus on this area of life, knowing that there's a more abundant and easy flow entering this area of life, and you can kind of grow it even more for the next year. So for Sag rising, if we look at the chart right here, we see Jupiter at 0 degrees of Taurus on May 1st. And we can also see that this is affecting your sixth house area of life. So this means that this is the house that's really going to be in the hot seat for new growth, new abundance, new expansion and luck for the next upcoming year. Now, what is the sixth house? The sixth house is the house of work, your health, your daily routine, your diet. It's really it's a very mundane house. It's a very like day-to-day house. It's really a house that rules like everything that you do in your routine in a day-to-day life that makes you feel good, that makes your life that much better. It's really the house of your health, how you take care of your body, your hygiene, your diet, your exercise, all of that. And it's also the house of your work environment. So how you are of service to others, like really like the type of work that you do, your coworkers as well. So this is a really great time for Sag rising to be at work, first of all, because, work with Jupiter in the sixth house usually becomes quite lucky. There's new opportunities to work in a way that's very expansive, that allows a lot of growth. Again, Jupiter allows for growth in anything that it touches. So when it's in the sixth house, there can be growth in the work. There can be either new work, a new job, whatever, or they can just be like an environment in the workplace that allows for a lot of growth and expansion. So maybe your coworkers are really helpful. Maybe your coworkers are like, like really allow you to grow as a person, and your work environment is really, really fruitful for expansion for you as a person. So if you have a new job that's lining up during those times, It's great news. I can assure you it's going to be a great time. Jupiter is also the planet of traveling, so this can be a time where you could travel for work potentially. Um, so that's definitely something on the lookout for. But yeah, work environment becomes very easy, flowing, abundant, natural, becomes very joyful. I would say the workplace when Jupiter's in the sixth house is very fun, it's very joyful, it's very expansive, it's very lucky. So definitely like look forward to being at work during those times. But the other thing is that, the sixth house rules the daily routine and the habits that you do on your day-to-day life that really allow for a good quality of life. So this may be a time when Jupiter is in your sixth house where you're more aware of what feels good in your routine and what doesn't. And this may be a time where you're really able to grow your concept of routine. Maybe it's a time where you integrate something new in your routine. Maybe that's like a daily walk or like a journaling practice or whatsoever. But it just makes your routine that much better. And there's really like a sense of joy that's like more in like your day-to-day mundane life. It's like the little mundane aspect of life just feel really good, just feel very pleasurable and joyful. And so that's a really good thing, to really focus on your routine, focus on your habits, and maybe like figuring out if there's more that you can add to your list of habits to, whatever makes you feel good. The other thing is that the sixth house is the house of health, obviously. So this may be a time where you really invest in your health in a new way. Maybe you expand your health in a new way. Maybe you figure out a new treatment or a new way of like treating your body or a new diet that it's really expanding this area of life in a new way, right? So definitely don't be afraid to explore or change because with Taurus in the sixth house, usually the health can be very fixed, very, very like stable. But with Jupiter coming there, there might be a demand for a bit of change, but trust that that change is leading you to more expansion and more growth in this area of life. That's very positive. So be open to maybe changes in the health sector. Either it's a new workout routine, a new diet, a new way of eating. Just you're gonna notice that you're generally speaking will want to approach health in a brand new way, revamp this area, and this will be very beneficial. This will be very positive for you, and can allow for a lot of growth and a lot of expansion. I always say, like, when Jupiter is in the sixth house, if there's anything medical to be dealt with, like if there's a treatment that you've been wanting to have, like maybe there's an issue that's been going on and you're trying to find a physician, this may be a time where you find that person that really helps you to heal, or you find that doctor or that treatment that really like it's easy, it's flowing. There's nothing like no big like roadblocks that comes through when it comes to you dealing with your health. So definitely milk that, like if you have anything health related you need to fix or you need to get into it, like it's gonna be very good for you to do that. So I definitely recommend that for Sag rising. Um, and yeah, just generally being more at ease with the concept of serving others, like how are you of service to others, and growing that even more. There's opportunities to grow your way of your work and your ability to be of service. But yeah, I think generally that's kind of what I have to say for Sag rising. With Jupiter in your sixth house, focus on your health, focus on your daily routine, the mundane side of life, and that's going to be something that you're going to really much thrive in, and the changes that you make in your health are really going to be beneficial for the next couple years. And so I would definitely say to pay attention to that. And yeah, if any opportunities at work come up, definitely take them. Jupiter again is a lucky planet, so if there's new work coming through, a new opportunity, promotion, whatever, definitely think about it, lean into it because it could actually be very expensive, very positive for you guys. So I'm wishing you a great year with this transit. And yeah, I wish you a great rest of your day. So for Capricorn risings, hello Capricorn risings. I hope you're doing amazing. So today we're going to go over the transit of Jupiter moving into the sign of Taurus from May 1st, 2024 until May 15th, 2025. So Jupiter is entering a new sign, meaning that there's new expansion, new growth, new abundance coming into a different area of life for the next year. So we're going to get into this for you guys and where that's going to land in your chart. And so first off, Jupiter is the planet of growth, expansion, luck, abundance, and ease. It really really grows and expands anything that it touches, and it allows a deeper sense of ease and of flow in this area of life for the next year, as it is really meant to grow and expand in a more easier way. And so there's definitely a lot of opportunities to be harnessed. And I always like to know where Jupiter is transiting in the chart of myself or a client, because that's really an area of life that you can really milk, the energies, in this area of life and focus on it, because again, there's more ease, there's more opportunity that can be harnessed in this area of life with the presence of Jupiter there. So with the chart here, you can see here Jupiter in Taurus at 0 degrees on May 1st, 2024. And for Capricorn risings, this is actually hitting your fifth house area of life. So this means that this is an area of life that's going to be expanded, grown, and there's going to be a lot of, abundance and opportunities in this area of life. Now, what is the fifth house area of life? It is the house of fun, pleasure, hobbies. It's the house of the inner child. It's also the house of children, but it really is the house of what we do because it's fun, what we do because it's effortless, what we do because it brings us pleasure. It really is the house of recreation and hobbies. It also rules like sports and anything that is more like, again, in the hobby, recreational market. And it also is the house of creativity as well. It's the house of creation. It's the house of creating something that really comes from the heart, something that we love. And that's why it's the house of children as well, because we create children, obviously, from our hearts, from love. But it is really the house of the heart, to really engage in what's fun, what's pleasurable for us, and what we love. And so with Jupiter in the fifth house, I'm just gonna say that's probably one of the best places for Jupiter to be for the year transit, because it's fun. Like, Jupiter in the fifth house wants you to have fun. It wants you to engage in your hobbies. It wants you to engage in what you find pleasurable. Another thing to note is the fifth house does rule love affairs, dating. It doesn't really rule like long-term relationships, as more so it rules like dating and like, like romance and just having fun with a partner. So that's also like a thing to mention with the fifth house. But with Jupiter in the fifth house, it's really about like expansion through recreation, expansion through having fun. And I would say like the best thing you can do when Jupiter's in your fifth house is really go back to your inner child. Like, what did you love to do when you were a child? Because that's usually the source of like what we are closely intertwined with when it comes to like our heart and what we truly purely love. That we express as a child before being conditioned that we should or should not like this, So whether that's art, whether that's fashion, whether it's music, whatever it is, what did you love to do when you were a child? Or what do you love to do because it's so natural, it's so effortless. It's like you don't even have to think about doing it. You don't even have to put much effort into doing it because it's your passion. And that's a big word to take into account with the fifth house. It is the house of your passions. And so really go back to what you're passionate about. Really go back to what is fun for you, whether that's traveling, whether that's, I don't know, like eating certain foods or cooking food, or whether that's writing or reading, whatever it is that you're passionate about. Really hone in on that during the next year, really focus on that and focus on those recreation, focus on having fun, because it's through having fun that you're gonna actually grow and expand the most. As weird as it can sound in our modern society, having fun, productive. Yes, having fun can be productive when Jupiter's in the fifth house for the next year. Because again, Jupiter allows growth and expansion through an area of life. And in the fifth house, you're going to grow and expand as a person through engaging in those recreational hobbies and fun times. So this can be an excellent time to do that. Also, obviously this is the house of children. So, you might be more, exposed to children during this year. Maybe you work with more children, maybe you're around more children. And all really is for the purpose of bringing you back to this energy of inner child, bringing you back to this energy of flow and fun and just pleasure. And so that kind of childlike joy energy is really present with you for the next year, either through the physical manifestation of children being close to you, or either through you tapping into this energy internally much more. This can be a time where there can definitely be more fertility for children, if you're not trying to have kids. protect yourself for sure, because this can definitely be fruitful for that. It can be a time if you have children, they grow considerably, or their lives grow considerably, or you're closer to them, and there's a lot of, you know, positivity around children during this time. So this can be great if you do have children. And if you are single, if you're looking to date around, if you want more romance in your life, chances are you're also gonna, be faced with that more easily as well. There's an ease towards you, navigating that realm, dating, having fun with someone, engaging in some love, like love quests whatsoever. And they could really actually expand you and grow you as a person and bring you a lot of abundance and luck. And so that's a very positive energy with Jupiter in the fifth house as well. But I think the main thing with Jupiter in the fifth house is grow your hobbies, grow your passion, focus on your passion, because oftentimes when you focus on those passions, they can grow and expand in a way that's very fruitful, very abundant, and very positive. I've seen countless clients, countless people create a business when Jupiter was in their fifth house out of what they loved, out of what they were passionate about. I actually started my astrology business when Jupiter was in my fifth house as well. Saturn was there too, so that was definitely helpful. But Jupiter in the fifth house really gives this push, this expansion, this growth into what you love, into your hobbies. So if you love something, definitely push on it, like milk it, put energy towards it, because you'd be surprised that it could grow into something very nice, very abundant and very positive for you. So man, this is a great transit for Capricorn risings. I know you guys are usually used to working, and doesn't mean that there's not going to be any work. Obviously there's going to be work. But go back to your heart, go back to what you love, go back to what's fun for you, and I promise it's going to have some very positive repercussions for you. So I'm wishing you the best year with that energy, and have a great day. Hello, Aquarius rising. I hope you're having a great day. So today we're actually going to talk about the transit of Jupiter going into Taurus from May 1st, 2024 until May 15th, 2025. So this really announces a brand new cycle of growth, expansion, abundance, and flow in a brand new area of life, depending on where Taurus is in your chart. So this is what we're going to talk about. And we're going to talk about what you can expect and how you can really optimize this energy to the max. And so Jupiter obviously is the planet of growth, luck, expansion. It really expands anything it touches, it grows anything it touches, and it brings more abundance, flow, and ease to a certain area of life because it is meant to grow in a very considerable way. So I really like to know where Jupiter is in a client's chart or in my chart, because it's a really an area of life where you can focus more of your energy on. You can really milk this potential abundant energy generated in this house for the year coming up. So that's really what we're going to do for you in this video. And so again, Jupiter is moving into Taurus. And if we look at the chart here, we can see Jupiter in the sign of Taurus at 0 degrees on May 1st, 2024. And for you, it is actually falling in your fourth house, meaning that the fourth house will really experience a new set of growth, a new set of expansion, and a new set of luck in the next coming year with Jupiter now being in this house. And so what is the fourth house? The fourth house is the house of home, family, property. It's really the house of where you belong, where are your roots? Where do you settle down? Where do you go to at night to rest, to settle, to really be in your own space? So it really is the house of home, family, your tribe, your past, where you belong, your roots, your property. All of that is really the fourth house area of life. It's very domestic, and it's one of the most important houses of the charts because it's one of the angular houses. From the first house, the seventh house, the 10th house, and the fourth house are called the angular houses because they rule very important areas of lives. And the fourth house obviously is very important because again, it is our home, and it is our family life, and is very, very integral in our well-being in ourselves. And so with Jupiter being there, there's definitely a sense of expansion, more luck, and more growth happening in this area of life for you for the next year. And that's amazing. So with Jupiter in the fourth house, what can you expect? Again, like I said, there's definitely an expansion potentially coming up in the realm of home and property. So this can be a time where, maybe you're renovating a home, maybe you're moving to a bigger home, right? Jupiter is expansion. It expands anything it touches. So when it comes to the home, it can quite literally mean like an expansion of the home. Either like you renovate to make it bigger, or you move to a bigger house, you move to a bigger land, a bigger property, or it can just be that you're engaging in some sort of changes in the home that can end up being very positive, very abundant for you. So great time to renovate, great time to, if you're looking at property, you want to buy property, definitely a good time to do that. It seems like there's less roadblocks to do that. It's more easeful, it's more flowing to actually engage in that change potentially. So this can be definitely a really good aftermath of having Jupiter in the fourth house. It can also be like, you finding a home that's just like, it's just really perfect for you. It feels like, wow, like what an abundant find. How lucky was I to find this kind of apartment or this kind of home? I've definitely seen it not only within myself, but clients who, again, move into like their dream home or like their dream apartment, and they just like, it's perfect for them, So if you're on the lookout to expand in the home sector, now is the time to do it. It can definitely be a time when you move, to a new city, a new place whatsoever. But home is definitely changing and expanding potentially during this time. If there's any problems that surface up in the home, because yes, even if Jupiter is very abundant, sometimes before we expand we need to let go of certain things. So there might be issues that could potentially pop up in the home, but do take them as luck in a way, showing you the little work that you have to do in your home to make it even more perfect, even more great for you and safe and whatsoever. So that's another effect of Jupiter in the fourth house. But obviously, the fourth house is also the house of family. So there can definitely be some luck when it comes to family matters during this time. Maybe your family is more available to help you. Maybe your family is more available in your life, or present in your life during this time. If there were any difficult, conflicts when it comes to your relationships with your parents or your family members, this can be a time where they can really be like eased up or really improved in a beneficial way. So this can be a time to really settle down some important conversations or conflicts with family matters. And that can feel very, very good, to actually have family relationships be more harmonious, more beneficial for the next year. This can really be a year where you feel like you can really kind of like depend on your family in a way. Not in an unhealthy way, but in a way that like you really feel like you've got your family's back. You've got a good connection with them. You feel closer to them in a way, and it can be just really be nice to spend time with family during this time. Just overall, it seems to be like a more domestic year. For family, for being at home, for being with your close-knit, group. And family doesn't necessarily just have to be like your blood-related family. Family can just be your tribe as well, right? Like this is something about the fourth house that I find is true. Is it's not just blood-related family. It's really like your sense of belonging, so your tribe. So, you could really form like a close bond with like a couple people, and you become almost like family, where you really feel like you have this little place that you really belong to through this tribe, through these people. So this can really, again, bring up or expand your sense of belonging, either through finding a new home or really integrating in your family even more, or integrating in a group of people in a deeper way, which can be very beautiful. So that's definitely a very positive repercussion of the fourth house and Jupiter being there. And also, Jupiter in the fourth house, your fourth house is your roots. It's who you are at the core. It's where you come from. And so it can be a great time to reconnect with your roots, maybe go back home to where you come from. Maybe have more information about your roots, your ancestors, your family, your family line, where you come from. But the fourth house is really like who you are at the core. Again, it's your past. It's what made you who you are right now. It's your foundations. So this can actually be a great time to introspect internally, to kind of ask yourself the questions like, what did I bring from my childhood? What did I bring from my family? that makes me who I am right now, and what are the things that I want to keep versus what are the things that I don't identify with anymore, and I'm ready to kind of expand from that. So there can definitely be an expansion in the sense of self through introspection, I would say, through understanding your past and your family life and all of that can really give you like a more expanded sense of self. And it can actually be very positive. So this can actually be, on this more psychological term, a greatly expansive transit when it comes to self-awareness and actually getting to know yourself at the core, and maybe healing from some childhood stuff, and understanding who you are right now on a deeper level through your past. So I would definitely say that's a great repercussion of this transit as well. So I would say for Aquarius rising, be a bit domestic during this year, put energy into your home, put energy into your family and your family relationships, and ask yourself, where do you truly belong? Where do you go to at the end of the night that feels like home, And yeah, definitely put energy into that. So I'm gonna wish you an amazing year with this transit and have a great rest of your day. Hello, Pisces rising. I hope you're doing amazing. So today we're going to actually talk about the transit of Jupiter in Taurus for the period of March 1st, 2024 until March 14th, 2025. So we're going to go right into what this means for you and what you can expect and how you can really optimize this energy to its fullest potential. And so obviously Jupiter is entering the sign of Taurus, and Jupiter as a planet is the planet of expansion, growth, abundance, luck, and flow. So it really grows and expands anything that it touches, and it really brings more ease, more of a natural flow in a certain area of life because we're meant to grow and expand in a brand new way, in an easy way in this realm of life. So I always like to know where Jupiter is transiting in a client's chart or in my chart because it's really an area of life where you can really milk this energy. You can really focus a lot of attention on this area of life because it really easily can experience more abundance, more flow, and more expansion. So it's a great kind of transit to keep your awareness on, generally speaking. And so for Pisces rising, we can kind of see here Jupiter at 0 degrees of Taurus on May 1st, 2024. We can see that for you guys, it actually ends up falling in your third house area of life. So this means that Jupiter's transit into Taurus will grow and expand your third house in a brand new way, and it's going to bring a lot more ease, flow, and abundance to this area of life. Now, what is the third house area of life in the birth chart? The third house is the house of information, learning, speaking, communication. It's really all about this intake and flow of information that comes our way through the communication with other people, through learning from a teacher. So it's a really, really information driven house. It really rules the mind, our mindset, how we think of certain things. And so it really rules like this curious nature, this curious kind of intake of various sources of information. The third house also rules siblings as well, as a person, and it also rules short distance traveling. So traveling that's like within a province or within like within a country. So it's not long distance traveling where you exit your country or your regular culture whatsoever. It's really short distance traveling. It does rule like traveling within a city, short journeys, and also like your local environment. So really like for example, the bakery that you go to every day or the shops that you like to visit in your town. So it's really like the local environment that rules the third house, whereas like the opposite house, the ninth house, rules overseas and long distance journeys or travels to very foreign places. The third house is travels or journeys to local places. So that's really what the third house represents. So with Jupiter coming into your third house, there can be new growth, new expansion, and new abundance in this area of life. And generally speaking, with Jupiter in the third house, really where my mind goes is, well, my mind, learning, communicating, and assimilating new kinds of information. This can be a year where you're very, very curious to learn brand new things. And this can be a year where you ultimately start engaging in some new learning endeavors or some information, rabbit hole that ends up actually being very expansive for you, that actually helps you to grow your mind and your knowledge in a new way that's very beneficial. So I would say for Pisces rising, This is a great time to learn and to actually get into some kind of knowledge that maybe you've been wanting to get into before. Maybe sign up for a new course about something, engage in some kind of new learning endeavor that's really kind of like expansive and beneficial for you. It's really going to allow you to grow and expand your mind and your way of thinking in a brand new way. And you're going to find that this brings a lot of ease, a lot of abundance, a lot of optimism in your mind as well through that process. But it's definitely going to be a very curious time. There's going to be a lot of learning, potentially a lot of communicating as well, because the third house is the house of communication. So if you're someone who's naturally, very inclined to communicate, this may be a time where it really amps up that tendency, maybe you network a lot more, maybe you're sharing a lot of information with a lot of different people, with your like local environment. Maybe you're chatting a lot more, you're communicating a lot more, and those communications with people, with the teachers whatsoever, they're really positive. They're actually growing you in a brand new way. The teachers that enter your life at this time, or the people that teach you certain things, they're very beneficial. They really want to kind of like help you learn those things. It's very easy to grow your set of knowledge on something specific. But with the third house also ruling short journeys and short distance traveling, you could see yourself potentially traveling short distances a lot more during this year, spending a lot of more time in your car. Maybe there's a lot more short journeys where you visit some new local places that you never have. Maybe get closer to some of like the local communities in your town, get closer to that bakery down the road, or random coffee place down the road, and maybe those like local encounters become more frequent, but also more positive and more expansive. And maybe your way of getting around town also becomes greater and more abundant as well. The third house also rules like vehicles, so like cars, transportation methods. So maybe that's something that gets some sort of new upgrade or expansion. So maybe a new car, a new way of traveling locally that allows you to do that even more and in a greater way. So that could potentially be in the lookout for Pisces rising. But all in all, when I think of Jupiter in the third house, I really think of learning and just really assimilating new information in a way that's very expansive, that allows you for a lot of growth and is very positive for you. So I would say get curious. It's very intellectual with Jupiter in the third house. So definitely lead into that. Be curious to share and exchange information with the people around you. Learn something new, read a new book, a set of books that you've been wanting to read, and really expand your mind. Allow for your mindset to really grow in a brand new way, because that's really where it's going to be the most positive for you to kind of pour this energy into your mindset, into your knowledge. So that's definitely what I would say for Pisces rising. The main themes that are going to be coming up with Jupiter in your third house for the next year. So I wish you the best of luck with this transit, and I wish you an amazing rest of your day. So that's it for the video. So we kind of went through all the 12 different signs. We went through all the 12 different houses and areas of life that Jupiter is going to be affecting for the next year. If you like this video, please like or subscribe. That would be very good and helpful. If you have any questions about anything that I talked about in your reading or at any point during the video, my coordinates or my contacts are in the description box below, so you can find my Instagram and my email. For any services or any questions about the services that I offer, again, contact me in one of the ways that I listed down below, email or Instagram, and I will be very happy to chat with you and connect with you. So I'm wishing you guys a great transit with Jupiter in Taurus. It's going to be very interesting to see what shows up for everyone. And I'm very excited to see, the kind of full circle, energy of that 1 year later, when we will have grown and expanded in a brand new way in a certain area of life, which is always a very beautiful process for me to witness anyways, especially as right now we are finishing Jupiter in Aries for the last year. So I'm wishing you an amazing next year with this transit. I hope you enjoy this video and have a great rest of your day. I'll see you in the next one.